Here we go. I think we're on. Are we
cameras
on?
turned on?
Am I on?
Not yet.
Says shows that I'm up.
I see you.
Are we on? Okay.
There
hey
he
everybody.
is.
Can you hear us? I don't know. We're I've been trying to say that we're trying to get this do this thing live today. We've been setting things up for the last couple of weeks, and do we have volume?
No, there's multiple ones coming.
Well, there shouldn't be multiple ones, but what do you guys think? Should we end the broadcast and see if we can just start it over?
Sure.
Oh, we have volume.
Well, we have volume
Yeah, we
now.
have volume.
All right. Can we switch cameras? Let's try switching cameras, everybody. Hey, thanks for your patience again. Lisa commented about being patient with us, so we thank you for that. We are live and just having fun with it, I guess, today.
Our inaugural live.
Our inaugural. We thanks, Craig. We're on. All right, we got
Yay.
it. All
Hi,
right.
Craig.
Hi,
Yeah.
Craig. You're so messed.
Craig, we miss you, buddy.
How's your
And-
daughter?
Craig's texting me, so shout out to Craig. Hopefully your daughter's feeling all right. He's not here today. Sick daughter, so get some rest and cuddles and all that fun stuff.
Family first.
We're a show. It's called Shh, It Matters. So we don't swear on this show, but the idea is that we get together every week and we talk about some different things that are relevant to our life, and we try to what we call escape the echo chamber. And we are a bunch of misfits, as we call it, working class misfits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all grinding hard, and this is a volunteer operation, and it's important to us. Actually, I got to tell you guys, I got called out this week on something, and well, let's talk about. I'll come back to that. So we're going to talk about how patients have received Saline instead of COVID shots for the vaccine this week. We're going to talk about how the FAA says that airlines have reported more than 500 unruly passengers. No, that's not me. We're also going to talk about some culture stuff, some 10 most iconic movie posters of the 1980s ranked. And then seriously, stop sharing your vaccine cards on social media. And also, the White House press secretary slips up, calls border migrant surge a crisis. I can't believe she didn't just say circle back. So you guys seen that, right? She likes to say circle back. So we're going to talk about those things. But, I got called out, you guys, last few weeks. And I just got to say that I'm going to admit to it, and I'm guilty of it. I do some corny things. And one of the things is the hammer video. So if you haven't yet hammered the like button, hammer the share button, you got to do that. And yes, I'm a grandpa, so I get to do corny things and do corny videos and say grandpa jokes and dad jokes and all that kind of stuff, right? But here's something that I got like 3 or 4 messages the last couple of weeks. The hammer has got to be CGI.
CGI.
Computer graphics.
Oh,
there it is.
Woo! Look at that.
My son made this in Woods class many years ago.
Big hammer.
It's a real hammer. It's
Wow.
not CGI. We're live. You can see that. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Matt, that
So
hammer is
it's-
bigger than you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll move on from that. I'm not sure if that's true, but just kidding.
Inquiring.
So hey, if
minds
you're
wanna
watching,
know.
we're gonna try. We're not gonna probably respond much to comments this particular episode, but if you want to comment, we would really appreciate that. Truly a small little show like ours, if you comment and if you share it, you like it, it's just huge. We're just trying to be really honest, transparent, sometimes corny, and that's just the way it is. Now, normally what we have is we're able to have the news articles where we pull them up, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to have that this week. So I literally just a few minutes ago was out climbing around trying to get the internet on the roof,
Yeah,
you know,
he was.
trying to
True.
get the internet to work so we could actually make this
Hold
thing
the
happen
tinfoil.
today.
Holding the
So
tinfoil, yeah.
right, exactly. We're about as real as it gets around here. So let's talk about some unruly passengers, shall we? how the FAA says there's 500, over 500 reports. So this is out of Washington. It's the Associated Press. And airlines have reported more than 500 cases involving unruly passengers since late December, so just a few months. And most started with passengers who refused to wear a face mask, federal officials said on Wednesday. The Federal Aviation Administration said it is reviewing more than 450 of those cases and has started enforcement action against about 20 people. The FAA reported that the figures shortly after it extended a zero tolerance policy against unruly people on airline flights. The agency said that under the policy, passengers who disrupt or threaten the safety of a flight could face fines and jail time. The number of cases we're seeing is still far too high, and it tells us urgent action is needed. It goes on and talks about different airlines and who kind of got called out on it. There's some different penalties and all kinds. Even some celebrities have been called out on it and stuff too. I don't think they were arrested, or I think some were removed, but pretty interesting. So who's going to weigh in?
I was just, when I read the article, my first thought before we even got into it was, boy, isn't it amazing how alcohol can, I'm sure not all of them involved alcohol, but it does describe that how some instances there was some alcohol involved. And, let's face it, I think we're kind of a divided country with this mask situation, who, wants to wear them, who does, and especially in places of businesses. And then you got a confined place like an airplane, things like that. So I would imagine that you're going to have some issues. So that was my thought. It was like, I was wondering if alcohol was involved with a lot of these cases, especially when obscenities, and then you're starting to get physical.
Yeah. So you all know that I fly a couple times a week, right? And I guess what I see is there's not a whole lot of alcohol on the planes right now, not anymore. But so I'm not sure if that's a huge factor. It could be. But what I got out of this and what I've seen is I think that one of the big things is when the confidence of the people is gone, what happens? You get unruly people, right? So the way that this has kind of been happening is like you see, John Kerry just the other day was on an airplane, wasn't wearing his mask. I don't know if anybody saw that.
Right. He was.
On American Airlines,
Right. He
right?
was.
And so with that, rules for thee and not for me. And so people are seeing these things. Dr. Fauci is out at baseball games and some other things. Dr. Birx, is that how you say her name? She resigned because she was caught with family without mask and without social distancing. And so people start seeing all these things. They lose confidence in the system.
The planes are even back to being fully packed. I mean, fully booked.
Not all
Yeah.
airlines, but
Delta is, yeah.
no, Delta's not.
I thought everybody just said it's back to every seat now.
Nope.
It was through the 30th.
I was just on one last night,
Okay.
and they were
Every other seat?
they're at least
overall?
going through the end of April.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they must have moved
I literally fly about 5 planes a week, 3 to 5 anyway.
So they're just not using the middle row, but otherwise
Middle
that's
row.
full.
That's the way
But
it's
that's
been.
Delta, but then Sun Country.
They're
was
full.
packed. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know a couple others are trying not to fill them, but
So they show the meme where you're getting your ticket and everything and you're 6 feet apart, mask, blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden, 300 people are on a plane, all crowded in, same air, same oxygen, all that. But the mask.
we just had
is
somebody
reflective.
weigh in. United was full capacity just last month, and that makes sense. I didn't hear about United. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if this is just referencing adults. I've heard stories in the past of how young children, they would, I know there's an age of who can wear masks or not, but I know that there was a few children that, young children don't handle plane rides the best all the time. And I know that, it was hard to keep the masks on them. And there was a couple stories. I can't think of which one it was particularly, but they were asked to leave to the plane. So I didn't know if this is in more reference adults, or are we talking about kids kind of disrupting things as well? What do we?
Right.
And I think everybody feeds off each other too. So if you see one person not wearing a mask, it's like, oh, well, they're not. Do I have to? You know
Right.
what I mean? With any situation, whether it's right or wrong.
Right.
Kind of what Harmony touched on too. An airplane before COVID seems to be more of a germ area. And I know they take utmost care in cleaning and stuff like that. So I'm not knocking the airlines. It's a wonderful, I absolutely love them. But I do think
Woo! Sorry about that. My
it's
volume's
okay.
cranked up.
Mhm.
Keeping that tight space
Yeah.
even more. Like I said, I think maybe people are just feeding off each other. I know I do see that in public places locally. Oh, well, they're not wearing a mask. I'm gonna take mine down.
Yeah.
So
One of the rules when I flew here a couple weeks ago was that you're supposed to have your mask on in between sips or in between chews. So I literally just sat with a Pringle in my mouth.
Hmm.
They actually
Well-
don't allow they don't allow that anymore. Just
No, that was
FYI.
part of their
There's-
airline
there's-
instructions. Lights on the floor, do do do. You know.
Yeah, no, they've caught on to people like you, Martha.
Yeah.
man.
Hey, I got it.
And that's okay.
Oh, I had duck lips, two Pringles.
Right?
that's funny.
I guess for me, it's like there's so many people, like I said, that just aren't doing it. That are well, our own governor got COVID, you know, and how he got it, I don't know. Rumors were that he had a vaccine and stuff, but how did he get it then? And supposedly he's not even in the state, I guess.
I think he's in Florida quarantining.
Okay, sure.
I mean, he
Well,
was there for
Florida's
Thanksgiving,
open, so that
yeah,
makes
so
sense.
yeah.
So lead
That's
by
rumor.
example.
That's
That's what I'm
rumor.
hearing. It's like, we need our government officials to, not just say things, but, show by actions. And then hopefully, our people will also kind of do the same thing. We can hope.
That integrity, walk the walk, talk the talk. If it
Yeah.
really is true and legit, hold your own, and like they say, the science, the evidence and different things like that. But I think people have just kind of come to a breaking point where they're just kind of like, okay, here we go. What's the next? Last week we talked about the CDC and the whole zombie apocalypse and everything, and what next? What's next week?
Yeah, it's like it's all kind of a joke to some of them, it seems. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's not, but to some of them it's just kind of interesting. I don't know what to make of it a lot of times, but it's confusing. Anything else on this? I feel like we could get really negative about it. I don't want to be negative about it. I feel bad for these people because it's so true. Is John Kerry, is he in jail? Is he getting fined for this? I mean, I don't know. It's just
And it didn't look like he was actively eating or sipping anything.
no, he
either.
wasn't. No,
Yeah.
there was a video too, I guess, that he was reading or something like that.
Going back to the one, I don't know if it was the straw that broke the camel's back, but just this past week, they said there was a gentleman, he snuck alcohol on the plane. That's different than not wearing, I think that's different than not wearing a mask. Plus then he was totally under the influence, belligerent, probably putting people maybe at harm's way when they landed the plane. They didn't take the plane down, but when they landed the plane, the police were there to take them off and everything. Obviously, if the alcohol is not supposed to be on the plane, it's adding to everything. But he was probably mad because now the people in first class get served beer and wine. They can't have soda or orange juice, but they can have beer and wine. But then the people in the regular economy class can't have anything. So, except water. So what gives? The hypocrisy there too. If you're in first class, you can have beer and wine, but you can't have orange. So you can have straight alcohol. You can't even mix a drink. You can't have soda or orange juice to go with it. But then in regular economy, you can't have anything to drink except water. So,
Well, it's I don't know. Can't buy it is what you're saying. Is that what you mean?
you can't get it at all. I mean,
Yeah.
on first class, why on first class do you get to have alcohol, but you can't even have an orange juice or soda? But then in regular class, you can only have water. So you can't even buy a soda or alcohol.
Just sounds way confusing.
Yeah.
Sounds so confusing.
Yeah, it does. And it is.
I mean, can you imagine somebody like, what can I have?
Yeah.
Right.
Ugh. I mean,
It's new to them too. I mean, I'm standing up for the airlines. They're adjusting to what.
it just feels like more work for them, for the,
Yeah.
for our flight attendants. It feels like a lot of work to have to go from each, passenger or line, depending on how far they're seated, to say, well, this is what you can and can't have. And these are the reasons why. And
Right.
I would just imagine they must be mentally wore out at the
Oh.
end of their shift. I mean, because you meant that's a lot of energy in a really tight space, and not everyone's particularly thrilled. You would hope so, because you would hope that they're going to awesome destinations, this and that. But, to get there, you got to go through all this. And so I do feel for them as well. But here's my thing, like, you're getting on a flight, you kind of should be aware of what is expected. You should. It's been on, the news. We've talked about it quite a bit here. So my thing is you can still have your opinions about how you feel about wearing a mask, but at the same time, where it is expected to wear one. And this is what I ask for the ones, because I definitely have friends who are half that are like, I don't want this mask. It pisses me off. Excuse my language. And then I have half that are like, yes, let's go for it. But, my whole thing is that we need to start caring about other people, and we need to start thinking about other people. And so, because we're talking about this, you're in a tight, confined space with people of all ages. So just think about their health and their well-being, and just have that 2-hour, 3-hour flight go a lot better.
I agree with that. I mean, they made the rules, whether we like them or not. They made the rules, and we have to abide by them.
Right.
I guess that's one of the things too that I would say is I agree with that. However, then let's have an open conversation about those rules, because I just had a video and I was going to pull it up, and we've been scrambling around trying to get this live to work. But I had a off of YouTube, I had a video pulled with a doctor, and we talked about this topic of masks, and they pulled it down just a couple days ago. Literally, YouTube said, sorry, it's no good. Click, goodbye.
Wow.
And anything more of that, then then it's kind of an issue. But the one isn't a bad deal. But anyway, let's not get taken off the air here right now, right? So let's talk about saline shots. Is this like shots or like
doesn't sound good though?
Yeah,
it doesn't sound tasty.
So this was interesting because there's several places in Minnesota. There's several dozen patients who have received saline instead of COVID. Well, part of this story though is, and I'm not going to go into super lot of detail. We'll just say the gist of it. A lot of this is where they actually have to mix saline with the COVID vaccine, right? And so, I mean, there's a little bit to be said about that and how that, works, and whether that messes it up or
doesn't work. Yeah.
Right. And so it's just a little bit confusing on why this happened. So dozens of people got saline solution. They say they're trying to fix the issue. What do you think?
Wow. In the interview, they interviewed the pharmacy tech who accidentally administered saline only compared to the COVID vaccine. Like you said, apparently it's supposed to be mixed, and it never got mixed. He said in the interview, as he touched his mask as well, he said, well, it's a simple mistake. It was a couple hundred people at that particular Hy-Vee, and then also it happened somewhere else in Minnesota. So that's 2 places just in Minnesota here that have come through. But imagine the people maybe that haven't gotten the actual vaccine, that thought they were under the impression they got the vaccine. So, I mean, if they caught the mistake, they did. But imagine the people maybe that the vaccine that wasn't caught for, that it wasn't clearly looked at that it was a saline compared to the actual vaccine, and now they're under the impression, hey, I'm not going to get COVID because I took the vaccine. So again, kind of how hypocritical that is with that thought too, with taking the vaccine as well. So, or maybe there's even more people that got the saline and not the actual vaccine.
You don't think they have that tracked well enough?
Well, they do, but he noticed that it was saline. What if he wouldn't have noticed? You know what I mean? They wrote it down apparently that they got the actual dosage of the vaccine, but what if he wouldn't have noticed that? I mean, look at how quick they're pushing all this through. Look at even the pharmacy tech is administering the shot. You know what I mean?
Right, which they said at the beginning that they weren't going to be able to do that, right?
Right,
and
right.
That
it was
changed,
going to be a
and that's
doctor,
okay.
and now all of a sudden you're going through a drive-through at Hy-Vee and getting, slap on the arm kind of thing. So
Sure.
what do we know about that?
It's confusing. We know that much.
Yeah.
Confusing and fearful. I would
Yeah.
think that would be very scary. I put myself sort of in their shoes, and I can't even imagine. Luckily, it was Saline, but I can't even imagine getting that phone call or however they were notified. I don't recall if the article had specified how they, got word that they didn't receive what they were intended to receive. But I would just be scared. They are so lucky that they didn't receive something else. And it does sound like there was definitely some confusion. Was it the pharmacy tech? I believe watching the video, it talked about how the bottles or the vials are very similar, and he was trying to even give his own of like how to avoid confusion, throw that bottle away but yeah, I was thinking for the individuals that received this shot of nothing basically, and they went about their business, and they felt because they received or what they thought of this COVID-19 vaccine that they felt okay to go in certain places maybe they wouldn't have went before too. So I think of those situations. Maybe they decided, oh, I got my first dose. I know that they sort of recommend that you sort of stay put sometimes, this and that, but
Right.
I'm really intrigued on the placebo end of this.
Yeah, that's a very
You know what I
good
There we
mean?
go.
Yeah.
I
good point.
actually
Yeah.
thought that, and I understand
Wow.
we're all humans and we make mistakes. This is a big mistake. This is a huge mistake, and
Yeah.
thank goodness that nobody had any side effects. That it was only saline in there. But we need to slow down if that's happening.
Mhm.
And this only happened in Minnesota. This can't be just
You
happening
bet.
here. This is
You bet.
happening all over, and we just haven't heard about it yet. And it's just very scary.
Hmm.
It is very scary. I agree. I'm not getting in line yet.
No.
I'm
I did.
You guys all
I'm
look at
not-
me.
look at
Yeah.
we look at Harmony.
Okay,
No.
so I
Jean.
have
Yeah.
had I think the only one at this table I have. So and it's funny because I think it's interesting to say that my opinion on it is I'm so in the middle. So I'm just waiting to see how I turn out, Elephant Man or what. We'll see. I like to joke and find humor in it. I hope all will be okay. But I also am in a particular profession where I thought it was wise to have that shot.
Seeing everyone I know that's gotten it, the vaccine has all gotten sick. I mean, literally 24 to 48 hours sick. And they're
Really?
even going through the assembly line. Yeah. Bruce went through the assembly line on Sunday, and they're telling him, hey, this is only 66% effective. And he's like, are you kidding me? So then you still got to wear a mask afterwards. You're supposed to
Mhm.
still wear a mask even after you have the darn vaccine. So, and you have 22% chance of having worse side effects than COVID with the vaccine. So there's so much information, even, is it Moderna? 18 months ago, they weren't even in business, and this is their first. Yeah.
Moderna?
Moderna?
No, what's the M word vaccine?
No. I know what you're trying to say.
Isn't it Moderna?
It's not Moderna. I
No,
don't
it's
think
not Moderna. I'm not
Anyways,
sure.
it's the M word.
Okay.
That one. That company 18 months ago wasn't even in existence. This is their
I
first
didn't know that.
vaccine. This is their first vaccine they've ever made.
I had not heard
So,
that.
Yeah.
So I got some messages. Some people have said I got some texts. We're live on. It says we're live on YouTube here, but they can't see it. They just see. So I click on the picture and we're there. So if you can hear us on YouTube, some of you that are watching or listening in that case, just click on the video and it does pull up. So there we are. Hopefully we'll get these bugs worked out and have some more fun with it, right?
There you go.
I think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Let's do something fun. 10 most iconic movie posters of the 1980s ranked. I wish we could pull this up on the
do
screen
too.
because
I do.
I know.
this really is. It's too bad, but it is what it is. This is. What was your favorite?
I like the
Do
Purple
we want to
Rain.
say who? Do we want to say who sent it?
I'm
Sent it
okay
in?
with that. I'm the one who sent it in. I was intriguing to me being a professional photographer. And once I started reading it, I'm like, why is this surfacing now? And the more I read the article, it was interesting about what they had to do. Right now, we are so easy. We'll just Photoshop this or change this or just add a new background, do a green screen. And what they had to do then to create some of these iconic posters is amazing.
Yeah.
And no, I really liked the Purple Rain one. I liked a bunch of them, but I thought that was just so classic and so fun. And it also struck a nerve on me with everything happening in the Dr. Seuss and the Disney and all this stuff being pulled and go back to these posters. And that was acceptable. It wasn't hurting anybody. It was a
Oh,
a
it will.
simpler? Oh, I know now, but it didn't
Yeah.
then, and it was a simpler. Was it a simpler time? I don't know. Or do we just not let things get to us and over analyze everything? And that's why the article intrigued me so much.
What I really liked was number one was The Empire
I
Strikes
seen that.
Back.
I
Woo!
Yeah, I was
We
scrolling
did.
down, scrolling down.
Yep.
Yep, of course it was that.
That
Airplane,
was,
yep.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
Airplane was on there. So number one is The Empire Strikes Back. We got that out of the way. So let's go to number 10. Number 10 was Purple Rain.
Yes,
That's a beautiful
It just is.
image. Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's a beautiful
totally
image.
is. That was pretty fun to see. And then number 9 is The Airplane. I wish we could pull this up. I'm so sorry, everybody, that we weren't able to get that to work on this live stream, but we will. The Airplane in the Not Like It Is, and that was such a funny movie.
It was a
I think I'm gonna have to, after the show here, I think I'm gonna have to turn the TV on and kick back.
It's such a
and
good dry
watch some
humor
movies.
too. It's just
Yep.
dumb, dorky, funny.
Yeah.
Made you laugh.
Just, yeah.
I'm sure.
Not offensive. It wasn't offensive.
Oh, yes,
wasn't
it
offensive.
was.
Oh yeah, it
Well,
was.
it was,
It
but it
was
wasn't.
so
It
offensive.
It was, but it wasn't. Yeah.
We didn't think that.
But we
way.
didn't-
but
Yeah.
but
we
we
weren't
found humor.
sensitive.
Yes.
But we found
Analyzing.
humor in it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Number 8 was the Gremlins, the first one. It was kind of cute because I'll describe it. Remember the caterpillar boxes that you'd do, you'd catch caterpillars and
Yep.
you'd poke the holes in the shoe box
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. So it's the shoe box and it's got holes poked in it. And there's these little eyeballs peeking out because the shoe box is open a little bit and there's little hands coming out, right? The little gremlin.
See, and I never watched that movie.
He's a
I never seen
mogwai.
Yeah, or the Mogwai, not the gremlin,
Yeah.
but yeah, thank you. Before he turned into the produced the gremlins. So it's very cute.
There's rules.
Right. And number 7, A Nightmare on Elm Street. That
Never seen
was
that either.
I'm sorry. That was like a favorite of mine. Like I grew up loving horror movies and I think I've seen them all. So it was kind of cool to see that one on there because I tell you, it made you scared to go to sleep.
we'll
I'm
talk
just
about
saying.
like we can't have Dr. Seuss and we can't have some of these things and the Grammys and the stuff that they were showing on the Grammys on live TV like that.
Oh my goodness.
and
Oh, my
we had
goodness.
the I mean, what we had Nightmare on Elm Street when I was a kid. Holy cow!
That was scary
Chucky?
stuff.
Back
then.
Was it The Omen?
Oh,
Something
yes.
like that back then. I mean,
Rosemary's
wow.
Baby. I
Oh my
mean, when you really
gosh.
start thinking about some of this stuff, and we could keep going back and back, but that was some scary stuff.
But hey, woke people, don't get rid of that stuff. I don't want it gotten rid of. It's
Mm-mm.
good. We're not saying that
It's okay.
negative.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's okay.
It
Look-
made us who we are, and we're
Yeah.
strong today.
Right?
But
The
even look at
80s were good. The 80s
Yes.
were good. Late
Totally.
80s were
Oh, I
better,
love the
yeah.
80s.
look at the graphics on that poster, though. I mean, they were just
Yeah.
I mean,
those
no,
razor
it's
blade-
insane.
Fingers.
Can
I
we
mean,
show them?
forget about
Yeah,
it.
can we show them?
Yeah, we can try. Let's
Put it on
see.
camera? Are you on?
I think, I mean, if you don't know who Freddy
Go
Krueger
ahead and
is
hold
in
it
the
up to the
song,
camera.
Lisa,
one,
Who's gonna hold it up?
2, Freddy's
Okay,
coming
we can't
for
zoom
you.
in, but
Lisa, you hold yours up. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys know the song? 3, 4, better lock your door.
Oh,
5, 6,
yeah.
grab your crucifix. 7, 8, better not stay up late. Something like
That's some
that.
bad memories.
Oh,
Wow.
it's like that song, if you've seen all the movies, it gets a bit ingrained in your brain a little bit.
You
so
know, I talked about some people said I had some that hammer video. Hey, by the way, if you haven't hammered the like button, hammer the like button, hammer the share button, hammer out a comment to us. If you haven't seen the video, go to Matt Logan Speaks everywhere. It's on it. But
Hammer time.
it's super important that algorithms that helps us out a lot. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I have corny ideas, but why you can see behind
oh yes.
you, Martha,
Big
maybe
movie
see.
buff.
I mean, there's 1,000 movies there that I've collected for the last 35 years or whatever. And but I would go to my grandparents when I was a little kid. I would ask to go stay overnight because they had Doctor Who on the weekends. Remember the old
Oh,
Doctor Who?
Yes,
And-
I remember the old one.
yeah, the old one. Yeah,
Yes.
not the new one.
The old one.
And yeah, I would ask to go there because they had it on their channel, and where we lived, we didn't get it. I don't remember
That music
why.
sticks with you, that Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I still hear it as you're talking about it.
Yeah.
And
I was
Yeah.
watching Jungle Book that night too.
Sure.
I was riding my moped. I don't know.
Right.
So we got to say number 6 is ET, of course.
Yep.
That's
Classic.
there.
Never
ET,
Phone
good
home.
old ET.
Phone home.
Phone home.
You know, that was kind of freaky too, really, when you're really young.
Yeah. But they still made, what I love about ET is they made it very family friendly, considering that that's a scary possibility, or they still made it fun, I thought.
for sure.
And I think I saw it actually again like a couple months ago, and I'm like, wow, this, it's never what it was when you first saw it, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and I don't think it was on the list, but The Exorcist, people are like, that movie freaked me out. And then you watch it 20, 30 years later.
That was in the
bad.
70s though. Otherwise it probably would have been. The
Yeah.
Exorcist was in the 70s.
Yeah.
This is the 80s. So
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. Blade Runner. Anybody see Blade Runner?
I have.
I've seen it. I saw the new one. I would have to look into that, but I wasn't thinking that this was a huge movie at the time. It took a little bit of a few years to catch on. Does
Mhm.
anybody remember that? I want to say, but the movie poster is incredible.
And that's
for
Harrison
sure.
Ford.
Mhm.
Right. The poster is amazing. Look at that smoke in the corner. That's and that time frame to do that.
Right.
That's amazing.
Well, what
Yeah.
they did too, if you
Mhm.
look at it, the smoke in the corner, and then it actually kind of the silhouette of the
Mhm.
smoke that goes through
Yeah.
it's just incredible.
Absolutely.
We take for granted
That's-
how much Photoshop and photo editing, overlay and different things like that, we can do nowadays compared to, like they talked about, just the original creativity of the drama of this,
Mm.
those posters like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because remember, we didn't have computers, we didn't have phones, we didn't, you had to drive by the movie theater to see what was on the wall, to see what was coming, or watch for it on TV, that kind of thing, to see, what was up and coming and stand in line.
Which was pretty exciting. I remember those feelings of like, basing what you're going to watch off the movie poster. A lot of times, sometimes we sort of have an idea what we're going to go see, but sometimes it's spontaneous and you went to the theater and you based what you were going to watch by movie posters. And
Right.
so I miss that.
And think right now, how many movie theaters are not open?
It's sad.
Are not
Yeah.
open.
I know. I thought
are
about
going
that
to close forever. Yeah.
too.
Can I just-
There's dozens of them closing. I mean, as you all know, I travel every week, and thanks COVID, closed because of COVID, closed forever.
Hmm.
Signs out on businesses all over the country.
Very sad.
And I was just going to say, it's true. Me and my family, we attempted to go watch a movie yesterday, not really thinking that they were going to have certain times of availability. And we went, it was closed, and it looks like they have 3 days. And this is in Winona, Minnesota. So it looks like Fridays, Saturdays, and like a little bit on Wednesday. We were kind of bummed out, but we were so excited. It's been like a whole year since we've been to a movie, and we were feeling brave. Let's go. And to only be disappointed with the select show times. But
So this is freaky. I didn't think about this until just now, but Escape from New York, that poster is number 4.
yeah.
And let's hold that up to the camera. Kind of hold it to you, to that camera over there, Lisa. Yeah, good. And 1997, New York City is a walled maximum security prison. Breakout is impossible. Breaking in is insane. 1997.
Mhm.
That was not done in 97, clearly, but they said that it would be a prison in 1997. Now, what happened in New York City during COVID? I just thought of that. They're locked down, man. You couldn't hardly get in or out of the city.
Mm.
The whole state of New York. I mean, New York City.
Well,
and-
New York City, though,
Yeah.
was by far.
The whole list, that was actually, because I believe I've seen all these movies, but of the whole list, that was the one movie where I'm like, I need to watch that one again, Escape
Yeah.
from New York, because I vaguely remember it, but I'm like, this is exciting. It makes me want to watch it again to see if there's any, anything that would be relatable.
He goes in on that glider. You remember he flies into New York on that glider.
see
It's
this
not
one.
a plane and stuff.
Mhm.
And he lands on the roof of, I mean, is it the World Trade Center?
I
even?
don't know. That's again,
I mean, it
I'm
was
sure
something
it's probably
be
in
fun.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to see.
But
those
anyway,
towers.
so number 3 is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
great movie.
Yeah.
And this poster looks like, to me, like almost like some of it was drawn. It had to have been, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Do you think they could have edited that?
I mean, now, yes. Back
No,
then,
but that
no.
back
I
then.
think
Right.
I agree. I think it
Right.
looks
Somebody
penciled.
painted it all
Yeah. He
looks
almost like
amazing.
they
Right.
drew it and painted it.
He looks.
I would
quite
agree.
young. It's a great poster.
Creators of Jaws and Star Wars, right there alone just says awesome movie. You know what I mean? Just for
Yeah.
the
Another Steven
viewers.
Spielberg here. Back to the Future is number 2.
Great movie.
Yeah, that was fun. The good old flux capacitor.
Oh,
I like
yes.
to goof around with people.
Do you guys
and
have a
talk about them.
favorite? Do you 1, 2, or 3? Because we know that they made more than one. I like the first one. The futuristic one was good, but we know they went back in time to the Western. Do you guys have? Yeah.
To me, what?
Oh, there we
So,
go.
go ahead.
No, the second one I almost liked. The Western one felt like it took it one step too far. That's just
Mm.
my opinion.
Yeah.
I like them all. I love watching them all in one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's a rainy day
Yeah.
or nothing to do. It's like just put all Back to the Future trilogy in there.
See, to me, the Back to the Future movies were almost separate, especially the third one.
Yeah.
Like you kind of had to separate that in your mind. Like I think the first one was just so. It was really phenomenal for the time.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was like, okay, we're going to watch this one. A couple days later, watch the second one. Second one was dark, though. You know, so
Yeah.
I
it's
liked
kind
it.
of a separate.
Do you guys
yeah.
remember the DeLorean would go on like a circuit, you know, and you'd go see the DeLorean.
Yes.
Like you don't even know if it was the real car or not that was used, but just to go see that cool car
Yeah.
like that, you know, our friends would have cars that were similar to that, and just to go see that car. You know, and now how we say turn the clocks ahead. Who is the guy? The not Marty McFly, but who was the other guy? Turn the clocks ahead, and I've heard that a lot used in campaigns. Doc, turn the
Yeah.
clocks ahead, you know.
I
Wow.
can't believe I'm forgetting his.
Yeah.
real
So
name.
hey, and comments are working just fine now. They are up and running, so
Great.
we could certainly respond.
Woo woo.
I like
To
not
them.
going back to Bernie memes or anything. I know it's over, but I do like how they played into the Back to the Future movies.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Oh,
in a
Bernie.
lot of don't go back to here, don't go back to 2020,
Wow.
don't do this, you know. And Bernie was in a lot of the Back to the Future memes. So I thought that
Yeah.
was
Can we
kind of
just skip
fun.
I
ahead to
didn't-
2024?
I
Can we
didn't
skip
see
ahead to
that.
2024?
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
All right. Enough of the movies. Otherwise, I'm
Wait.
gonna have to stop broadcasting.
You
Number
didn't
one.
talk
Number
about
one?
number one. You
Well,
missed your
I
number
did.
one.
No, I said it right away.
Oh, Empire Strikes Back. Okay.
So that's number 1. We can
All
talk about the movie.
That's
I could
okay.
probably talk about that for hours.
You could,
Actually,
yeah.
you know,
The graphics,
this is a good time to say Matt Logan Speaks has like a lot of plans. And one of the things that I want to do is have an entertainment podcast where we actually talk about movies. And I've been working on that for a while, and I think it's going to probably get pushed back to the middle or end of summer now. But that is something that I'm looking forward to. Is talking about some of these things like
That'd be
Do we have
fun.
a
every
Disney
week.
episode?
Disney. I think Disney got canceled, didn't
Oh
they?
man.
I don't know. Yeah, but no, I mean, so Matt Logan Speaks. I mean, I have plans to do a lot of things. I try to put out positive, just content, right? And that is a lot of layers, isn't it? I mean, life is a lot of layers, and this is kind of a little bit more serious show for the most part. We want to unpack what is relevant in the world to us, but there's also fun. I mean, you all know that I have an outdoor theater. I
Mhm.
built an outdoor theater out of a bunch of scrap wood a few years ago. And, you know, it's a great time. I love that kind of stuff. So a lot of plans. I'm going to buy a bus, hopefully at the end of the year, and going to take a podcast on the road and also do the speaking circuit that I do. I need a place to put all the equipment. So
Wait, and we're going to go to
get
Hawaii
places.
too, right? Aren't we going to take the
thought
show
so.
on the road to Hawaii?
I think that,
After
The
last
bus-
week, we realized we only needed.
yeah, once you're married or
test.
something like that, wasn't that?
Once
part
I'm
of the
married? No,
deal?
I'm not taking you guys with when I get married. No. That would be a whole nother episode. Oh my gosh, we're on live.
We would definitely, we're on live. We are on live.
Instead of the witnesses, we'll be the misfits.
That would definitely not be on YouTube.
Oh, funny.
Anyway,
That'd be on the pay-per-view.
Oh, funny.
All you guys are invited.
seriously, stop sharing your vaccine cards on social media. Let's talk about that one.
That was a good one.
That
All
was
right,
good.
seriously, stop sharing your vaccine cards on social media. So when I read this article, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. They're going to show, like, it can show your birth dates, it can show different facts about you. that's there. What did you think about it?
It's true. It's all true. Don't do it. First of all, don't do it, but literally don't show your card. Don't people realize any information that you put out there, even these little memes about put your dog's favorite name or your kids' birthdays or what are your kids' names, it all helps scammers and spammers and identity theft and everything, and they're saying how the little cards, maybe you cross out your birthday. I just seen one last night, and somebody in Rochester, their birthday was blacked out, but then the COVID tracing number was all on there, both COVID tracing numbers, where it was done at, their healthcare facility. I mean, any little bit of information you can give scammers and spammers, they're just getting bits and pieces of everything.
I think that each their own. And if you had a vaccination or if you didn't, I think you can be proud of that. But there's other ways to show it. You don't have to put the card on there. You can wear the little sticker. You can hold the sign. I did it. I got my shot. However you want to do it. But just keep that personal information. And just because there's one or two things that's on that card, you can, like Martha May just said, there's a lot of information that can be pulled from that, where you live or anything can be from there. So show other ways instead of doing the vaccination card.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot of other ways that you can do it.
In the article, they were saying how there's a lot of scammers going back to COVID-19 tracing, calling people and saying, hey, we traced you amongst other people with COVID-19, different things like that. And a lot of it was scammers. So they haven't come up with actual people causing fraud with the vaccine information yet, but they said it's only a matter of time. Like it's literally only a matter of time that some ethical person comes up with some kind of scam and says, hey, we found out you took this test, or whatever information they want to use, because you posted information and can track it and piece it together with everything else you have.
Right. It becomes like a puzzle, and it's like if they want it bad enough, they will, get the full picture of what they need. And when I was reading this article, it made me think of, like, if people are stealing people's pictures to become somebody else, what makes you think that any of that's safe? And in my personal experience, I did get the first COVID of Show It. So I just, I had my mask on and my thumbs up, and that's what I did. I don't want people knowing my personal information. And it's honestly, I don't mean to insult anyone, but it's just really common sense. It's like, we are in a very scary world right now. Identity theft is one of the largest things that we should honestly be worrying about. Although not myself. I like to joke. I feel sorry for anybody who wants to steal my identity. They're going to be crying and want to give it back. But my whole thing is just use common sense with this stuff. You can be loud and proud, but there's just other ways of showing such. Lisa had mentioned a sticker. Thumbs up's great. Just talking about it. There you go.
I've had my identity stolen twice. I've talked about this on the podcast.
Well, who wouldn't want to be you?
Oh, come on. No, not at all. But it's not fun. However, I'm not sure how it happened. And this was pre-digital age, really. I mean, some of it was kind of digital age, but most of it wasn't, or the one time wasn't at all. I don't know if you can stop it, but we shouldn't encourage it.
Right.
Make them work for it, I guess, is what I would say. And there's a lot of things now digitally that we can have in place and stuff to do that. But yeah, be proud of what you do. But the thing is, also be proud of people that make the decision to not get the vaccine. That doesn't necessarily mean they're an anti-vaxxer. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I'm not ready to get in line yet.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. One, I'm
okay.
healthy and not in the age category yet that they're working towards. But what I would say with this, though, that is a little bit of an issue for me is what I've seen so far. They're trying to kind of get this to be, what do they call that? A vaccine passport. They're trying to move it from this proud moment to moving it over to a vaccine passport.
Gotcha.
And that is where I will get the boxing gloves out.
Right.
I guess.
So they actually want you to have the vaccine in order to fly or do anything. Even like they said, going to New York, even into the city of New York or the state of New York actually have the vaccine.
Yeah, that worries me too, just hearing that, because then what I feel and see from that is then people are going to try to duplicate cards. And, we've done it many years with IDs, this and that, who says that, Somebody isn't going to try and duplicate or steal a card to get into certain venues or whatever. I mean, it's just you got to think about that stuff too. So I don't know. I hope that's not what's going to happen, because I think a lot of people are going to feel discriminated against.
I just got a bunch of texts. You guys can comment on Facebook or on YouTube. You don't have to send me a text. You're probably not gonna, because you don't want your name on that. We suck that bad. You don't want your name showing up on the comments. So I just got like 4 texts here and stuff. But thanks for watching. And hey, don't forget to hammer the like button, hammer the share button. Get the word out there that we are hilariously crappy at this right now.
We're beautifully flawed. It's a work in progress.
Ross says, "Ha ha." Bruce is watching.
I guess for me is that what's important is where our hearts are at with it, and I don't mean that in a sappy way, I guess, but the idea for me is I really kind of want to. The reason I did this, a couple of the podcasts that I do, is I really want to build a bridge, right, between my perspective and other people's perspective. Building that bridge doesn't necessarily mean that they have to come to my side or I have to go to their side, right? What does a bridge do?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We can like literally hang out in the middle of the bridge, have the conversation, and essentially go back, but we at least have the conversation. And that's kind of why I want to do this. And because when we have new data, when we have new information, that equals new decisions. And that's really kind of the idea for me on it. But that wasn't too sappy, was it?
No, it wasn't, and it's absolutely true. I mean, I feel the same way. We need to respect each other, and if I don't want to get a COVID shot, if I do want to get a COVID shot, that's my choice, and that's my right to have that choice.
Wait, are you an anti-vaxxer?
No, I'm not. I did not say that. But we need to be able to respect each other for their decisions, and it just seems like there's a lot of peer pressure. If I did say that I'm not an anti-vaxxer, whatever. But I mean, if I say I haven't got the COVID shot yet, why? What's wrong? Did you turn it down? Did you do this? It's why did you do it? Why did you not do it? I just feel like we have the right to our own choice, and I hate to say, shouldn't be questioned for that reason.
Well,
Exactly.
and what I'm thinking is, like, I've had it, you haven't. I'm sitting right next to you, and we're doing just fine. So.
Right.
Respecting each other.
Well, that's
Absolutely.
because you're on camera right now.
Yeah, right.
Just for
Right.
your
Take us
information,
outside.
we're like
Right.
really not
I'm
happy about
undecided
it.
myself, yeah.
But, so I was on the Mexico border just days ago. If my camera's on at 3:24 in the morning, I pulled over because I was watching some border patrol. I took a screenshot of my map. People are this border stuff is a big problem, and I would agree that she says that it's a crisis, and I'm not sure they got ridiculed for it because they were trying to say that it was a challenge, and so it wasn't a crisis, and in these things that were happening, we have information in things that they let 108 people who had COVID, tested positive for COVID, come into the United States, and they were okay with it. So again, we're kind of back to the thing that things aren't congruent. And I think that's where people lose the confidence, like I said earlier in the show. Just lose confidence. What did you guys think of this story? I say guys. Did I offend you?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I'm not offended.
But you know what
I use that.
It's like,
Hey guys, what's up?
right?
I say dude. Are you offended by that? Hey dude.
Hey, you're the only guy at this table.
I
Do you
know,
that?
right?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
offended?
Yeah. Are you offended? Yeah.
I'm
We're not
extremely offended.
Yeah.
I
So
get-
circle back,
Yeah.
made a mistake.
She didn't circle back.
She didn't circle back on her own circle.
Yes, comments are on now. Yes, comments are on. We got them working. I have them on my screen here. So go ahead. Where are we at?
So circle back, made a mistake apparently and corrected herself. She's just caught on the use of a word crisis compared to challenges. If it looks like a crisis, if it acts like a crisis.
There's our guard dog. Jackie's
if you hear
chilling with us too today.
Jackie's looking for the crisis. If it looks like a crisis, acts like a crisis, sounds like a crisis, it probably is a crisis. She's hung up on not using that word. Everybody else knows it's a crisis. So
Yeah. She doesn't want to use the word because
The
it
administration
invokes
doesn't
fear.
want to use
Yeah,
the
the
word.
administration,
yeah.
yes. Not just her, but the administration. Yes.
They don't want to appear that there's trouble and there's danger and they're having trouble handling the situation, so they're watching their words. But I think, like you said, it's been known for a long time now that there's troubles down there. And my issue is, and I'm very passionate about protecting children, is that a lot of children are down there and some are
I don't know if everybody. I'm sorry, Harmony. I got
that's
to
okay.
you.
She's really talking.
She's going for it.
Yeah.
She wants to
Mhm.
be on.
She wants to
Just
be
telling us what
heard.
she-
Jackie, the one thing that I'll say is I've said this before, I'm well prepared here. So if you show up at my house, I'm well prepared.
Literally.
Just saying.
Prepared.
Yeah.
Whoopsie, we're
And
trying. I know.
We're having fun with this live thing.
We
today.
are.
Well, I think just to continue what I was just saying is I think we all know that it's been, challenging and it's borderline crisis if they don't want to use the word. But it just sounds like there's troubles down there. And I'm bothered by how many children are down there and they're unaccompanied and, that they don't have their family with them. And then now you're bringing about how people are being allowed to go over the border with COVID. And it is confusing. It's scary. It's confusing. It's sad. It's lonely. I feel for these people. How do you not feel for these people if you just take away or exclude the fact that they're from another country, they're human beings? Okay, can we just do that for a moment? Can we exclude the fact that just because they're not from our country, because we always want to start with that, and it's just like, but they're human beings and they need help. And is that such a bad thing to provide a little help, a little understanding, a little compassion? I get with the COVID, it's a scary time right now. But let's just handle the situation. Why is it so ongoing? I'm tapping the table. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Matt.
that's okay.
I'm a
I have
tapper.
I made
I'm
a
a
new
tapper.
rule today, didn't I? I'm not much about the rules,
broke
but
the
I made a
rules.
new rule today, and that was no swearing. That's the
Broke
ongoing
rule number 1.
That's the ongoing.
I did it already.
But the rule number 2 that we just came up with today is not tap the table. So
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
twice. I'm a rule breaker
Knock on
today.
wood.
But that's my 25 cents. I always say it's more than 2 because it's worth so much more. But that's just my thing. Let's start helping people. We talk about it a lot. That bothers me. We sure talk a lot about it, but I don't see a lot of action. And come on, people, we're better than this.
And I'm over here biting my tongue, saying we have a lot of people to take care of in our country that are our United States citizens, our veterans, our military, our homeless, and we need to take care of them first. We have had open borders up until a couple years ago when the wall, and now look at how many are testing positive for COVID. How come it is a year ago we locked down our country? And now it's open borders, let them all in.
COVID or not COVID, I know it's not congruent. And that's confusing.
Yeah.
Like it'd be okay if it was a congruent thing. If it was just across the board, they were doing the same thing. It made sense. Okay. But it's not. It's just all over the place. And that for me is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was literally just down there a week ago. Was it a week ago? Earlier this week.
I was just trying to find where the house passed. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I stopped at in a little town, and they're seriously concerned about it.
It's a very sensitive subject, obviously. I agree with Harmony in the sense that we can't turn our backs on each other and they're all humans, but I'm sticking up for the US here. I'm sorry. I am. We need to take care of
We
this.
can't take care of people if we can't take care of ourselves.
Exactly.
That's
It's like
really
the-
the
Right.
bottom line.
the
And
mom that takes care of the kids and gets so run down, and if she doesn't take care of herself, she's not going to be there for her kids.
I'm
And
gonna
that's what-
we have a question, but I'm gonna
Sure.
say this first. So I'm on 3 to 5 airplanes every week. Excuse me, I gotta clear my throat. I'm on 3 to 5 airplanes every week, and I'm in probably 5 or 6 lifts every week. I'm in hotels about 3 to 4 every week, and that's all throughout the United States. And guess what I get to do? I get to I'm involved with all kinds of different people, different races, immigration, conversations. Last night, a guy from Africa, he worked hard for 10 years to get here. You know, he drove me 45 miles last night, and we had a great conversation, and that is real, and that we should work to get in anywhere that we want. If we want to go to Spain, we should work to get into Spain. Spain's beautiful, by the way, the places I've been. And so that should just be known. That should be common, that the country takes care of their people first. And then if you want to get in, you get in the right way. And that's fantastic. But here, I'll get off my soapbox on that. But I do get accused often. I get messages, not super often, but it's like, I don't know, I'm a white guy, right? And yeah, I'm a white guy. I am. But I have interactions, dozens of them every single month with immigrants and people of different nationalities and different colors than I am all the time. And I love it. And they love being here the right way. But anyway, here's the comment. It is unfortunate that Trump solved the energy crisis and border issue, and within days, the current administration reversed it. So that's a comment. I'm not going to say their name right now. I'm not sure if they want their name said, but it's on here. You can go and look at who it was. But you know, it seems that way, doesn't it? Seems that way.
We're all kind of speechless.
I know, it's heavy. They think I'll talk about another story, the Portland stuff. So many people came out, news organizations came out and said this is peaceful protests in Portland and Seattle and all those things. And I literally was in a cab, and I asked the guy about the different riots I was in Portland, or near Portland, I should say. And I asked the guy about the different riots and how bad was it, and you know, all these things. And he's like, "Oh, this is peaceful protests." I said, "Oh, really? And why don't we drive by there if you don't mind?" I was on my way to the airport. I said, "Let's take a detour. Let's go downtown, take a look at it." And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I haven't been down there yet. You know, this is over the summer, probably in, I want to say late July, maybe." So this had been going on for some time. When we drive by there, and as we're getting up there, we see barricades. We see boarded up businesses, and even what appeared to me as banks and federal buildings. I'm not really sure, because again, we were, you know, kind of driving by. And he's like, "Well, that's just to prevent anything bad from happening." The short version is he literally, with his own eyes, was denying that was happening. And I had to keep pointing out, well, the barriers, there's the boards, there's the dumpsters that clearly were on fire. The sides of some of these buildings had been burned. You could clearly see these things. And I just had to keep pointing it out. So the point being is don't take things for face value. Don't take my word at face value. I say that every week. Go do your research. Don't take CNN. Don't take Fox. Don't take news. Exactly. Don't not Newsmax. Not any of it. Go out, use your eyes, use your ears, use your brain, and figure out what's going on, because
See it for yourself.
So much deeper than what we know.
Yep.
There's my soapbox. Sorry.
Just quick, speaking of seeing it for yourself, this morning I was up really early, and there's a restaurant over in Albert Lea, Minnesota, that was waiting for the sheriff to serve her with a warrant and arrest her. And you know, I was glad I got to see it for myself, because it's kind of heartening to hear a sheriff speak. He doesn't know his constitution, he doesn't know his job, he doesn't know his oath that he was taken, let alone he is ready to arrest people that, you know, are not really going against what he believes is, or what they're being told is, against the law. So, you know, I was glad I was there firsthand. People just need to take the initiative and get out of, you know, their little box and different things like that, and see things for themselves, and take the initiative to, hey, is that really what the news is reporting? Hey, is that really what people are saying? Hey, I got to see this for myself. I need to be involved with this. So, yeah.
Yeah. Use your eyes, use your ears, use your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're a pretty good podcast because we tell you to go to other places.
Yeah,
right. I feel like
Here's what we think, but go look.
right. Like I feel like that's that movie Miracle on 34th Street where the Santa was like, hey, go over here to get the better deals. Go over here to, this is where you're gonna. And I feel like we're kind of like that. Please, yes, we love our viewers, we love our listeners, but we're also saying think for yourself, and that there's other reputable, just as like us, sources of information. So do your research, and we still love that you tune in. And
We do. We're
Yeah.
very appreciative. Yes.
Our
very
first
grateful.
live show. Woo, how
First live
exciting.
show.
Woo!
Exciting.
and-
Live
thank you.
virgins.
Hammer
it out.
It's hammer time.
Woo!
Hammer the like button. Hammer the share button. Hammer out a comment to us. We have Lisa hanging out, Harmony hanging out, Martha May hanging out. Tell us where we can find you.
Martha Makashati on Facebook.
Harmony Sage, Facebook.
Lisa Lingle, Facebook and Instagram.
I am Matt Logan. You can find me at Matt Logan Speaks. I'm building a website right now, so mattloganspeaks.com. That's a little bit behind schedule than what we had planned. Literally, YouTube took off a video of mine a few days ago. I was speaking with a doctor about doctor type stuff. They didn't like it. They said their rules with the WHO, the WHO, didn't align with that. So I respect that. However, we have to build these things so that we can get information out, get our perspectives out. So we appreciate you watching, listening, and hammering the like button, hammering the share button, hammering out a comment to us. We will see you all at noon next Friday, and that is the 26th, right?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
All right. And hey, happy springtime tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah, spring is sprung.
Exciting.
See you next week.